Welcome, Jordan here. Welcome back to Emotional Mastery Part 2. If you haven't seen Part 1, I would recommend to go and watch that before watching this video because it's going to give you more context because today we're diving into reactive behavior and proactive behavior. We've touched on reactive behavior. We have an emotional trigger. Something makes us feel a certain way. It pulls us out of our center. Something makes us feel reactive, right? Like we want to get angry at something. We want to get frustrated. We want to feel resentful. We want to get back at this person. Our mind gets put in overdrive. Our ego gets hurt. So therefore we want to prove the person wrong or we want to go and take action from that place. It's all reactive, right? If you can look at reactive behavior for a second, it's more just you're kind of being bounced around like a ping pong ball. You're constantly just bouncing and ricocheting off different things. You're never really in your center. You're never really being, in your state of control. And you're being pulled around by the world and what's happening around you. You're a victim to the outside world and outside circumstances, which is not a powerful place to be. So we need to be able to bring ourselves back into center in these moments to develop a deep level of emotional mastery within ourselves so that we are not just being slapped around by the world and wondering why things haven't changed. So when we look at reactive behavior, an example of this would be somebody does something and it makes us feel a certain way, right? Let's say you're in a relationship and this person says something, but it's neutral, right? They may have said something and they just kind of had a passing comment, or maybe they said something. Maybe there was nothing, there was no intention behind it at all. But the way you picked it up was coming at you because something within you is now mirroring back something within this relationship that is not healed within you, right? So there's the journey of healing that is a big part of this as well. If we have emotional wounds of neglect growing up or something that is deeper within ourselves where we feel like we are not enough, where we have to constantly prove ourselves, our self-worth is tied to money, our self-worth is tied to our body, our self-worth is tied to something outside of ourselves, then these emotional triggers will amplify even more. So we'll experience more of them so that we can point back inwards and we have the opportunity to transform those things, which is the reason why we have those triggers in the first place. Again, if you haven't watched that video, this will make more sense if you've watched that video. Someone says something, it brings up a deeper wound within. Now, in the moment, you may not know it's tied to that at all. This takes some introspection, it takes some reflection, right? It's a skill in itself. But we can understand that in the moment of that person saying that thing, we can feel a sense of reactivity coming up. Oh, like I want to make sure that this person knows that this is this, whatever the case is. I want to make sure that this person knows that I'm not this way, and I want to make sure that they know that I'm right and they're wrong. Right? Again, this is reactive. It's kind of like this jittery behavior, you can feel it. So we want to make sure that we can catch ourselves in that moment. Be like, okay. I feel it. I can see it. How do I transform this? What is this teaching me about myself? What is this showing me within myself that I need to look at? Because that's all this comment or this person did. They were just simply a mirror for you. It has absolutely nothing to do with them at all, right? Because the second we start to blame this person, we've now pulled ourselves deeper out of ourselves, and we're now in the state of being a victim. We're in victim consciousness. When we are a victim, you're not solving any problems. You're not solving any problems because you're blaming somebody else. And hey, look, I get it. It's challenging to do that. And it's easy to be a victim in those times because we can see, okay, this person said this thing. They're obviously coming at me. They're obviously making me feel a certain way. It must be their fault. It's not their fault. It was simply something within you that you're still carrying and holding within that is now just being mirrored back and reflected back to you from this other person, and it just came across in that comment for whatever reason. And in that moment, you have the choice to heal that. You have the choice to transform it. You have the choice to master your emotions. This is it. It's in the moments. And it's in the little moments. It's where we got the opportunity. So when we are in that reactive state, we are giving away our power. Like we are saying, hey, I'm not powerful enough to be able to manage this. I'm going to give it away. I'm going to blame this person. I'm going to be reactive. Because what we're doing is we crave some form of instant gratification in that moment. I want to make sure that this person knows this thing. I want to make sure that I tell them off. I want to make sure that I react in this way because we get a feeling from it that we're right. For that moment, we feel powerful, but it's false. It's not real. And this is something I've learned from my deep study of Kabbalah and the ancient wisdom that is associated with that. When we are reactive, we are saying, I choose lack. I choose instant gratification. I choose to be reactive. And in that moment, we choose the same timeline and we're going to experience that exact same thing in a different way from someone else, from something we see online, from something that we see from somewhere else, whatever the case is. We're just destined to experience it again because we will keep experiencing it in different ways until we transform it. Because we have chosen to experience this so that we could transform it. That's what we're here to do. We're here to transform at the identity level. We're not here to stay in mediocrity and in the low level of consciousness. We're here to transform and elevate and experience the fullness of life, massive success from a place of wholeness, one with the source, one with the light, one with God, whatever you want to call it. But that comes from transforming the negativity within so that we can elevate. Otherwise, we carry around the negativity like chains and anchors around us, wondering why the world will not give us a break because we are continuously choosing to be reactive in those moments. And like I said in the last video, it's easier said than done. So what's the opposite of this? Well, the opposite of this is being proactive, right? Very simple. We have reactive, proactive. Proactive is making a new choice. Proactive is saying, hey, I'm not going to choose this same experience that I've had so many times in my life so far. I'm now going to choose to zoom out. I'm going to see things from a broader perspective. I'm going to see things from the perspective that this is good. This is actually a gift. This is actually an incredible thing that is helping me in my life. And you may say, how is this a positive thing? This person just said this thing, I feel terrible. Why would this be a positive thing? Well, it's a positive thing because it's showing you the thing within yourself that you came here and you want to transform because you say you want this great life. You say you want this amazing relationship. You say you want this amazing business, whatever the case is. But if you're not willing to transform the lack within or the negativity within, then you can't align yourself with the frequency of what you say you want. So this beautiful gift of this trigger that this person said that actually just was a mirror for what was going on within you is a perfect gift for you to transform. Because this is the beautiful thing about when we set a desire in motion. When we say, I want this thing, I want this life, I want this way of being, we start this sequence of events that starts to unfold where all of a sudden it feels like we're actually going backwards a lot of the time. I've experienced this in so many different ways in my life. I would say I want a relationship or I want this business outcome. And what starts to happen is the opposite starts to happen. Why? Because it's bringing out all of the negativity within me that is keeping me in a low frequency, that is stopping me from aligning with the desired reality that I say that I want. So it's up to me to transform that. So in those moments where we experience that trigger, being proactive is being like, hey, amazing. This is great. It can almost feel silly in the beginning. But what you're saying here is you're saying, this is incredible. This means it's working, right? Because what you're doing here is you're tapping into such a high level perspective when it comes to what's happening in life. You're not stuck in the 3D reactivity that most people live their life in, where things are just happening to them all the time and they're just bouncing off the walls, reacting to it. You are choosing to zoom out. You are choosing to transform. You are choosing a different route to take. So being proactive is saying, hey, okay, great. Yes, I may feel something right now that is actually making me feel really heavy. I may feel a sense of negativity right now. We're not saying to ignore that, right? We talked about that in the last video. We're saying to ignore that. Sometimes we got to go into that. Sometimes it's actually signaling a deep wound within that came from childhood that we need to address. We need to go into that. So in that moment, we could just say, hey, okay, I'm experiencing something right now, right? And we're going to get into communication in the next video. I'm experiencing something right now. We could say it to this person. If it's a relationship, for example, give me a couple of minutes, maybe some time. I got some work to do. I got some inner work to do. And in that moment, you stop the reactivity. You may still be feeling reactive, but you have stopped the sequence of events, the cause and effect of your reactive behaviors, you've taken a step back. You can go into that. I like to meditate. I like to spend time with it and sit with it, not to dwell in it, but to give it some time and some energy, especially if it's a child part of me that feels hurt or feels, unloved or whatever the case is. It's up to me to reparent that part of myself as a man, right? To give it love, to not just reject it and suppress it and just be reactive. It's up to me to go into that. That's the standard I hold for myself. So it's nothing to do with this person. Even though it may be to do with this person, but we're not going to blame them because, again, we just take away our power that way. Go back in. And then we come back and we say, hey, I understand where this trigger came from. Thank you. You don't have to do that, but you could just thank them to yourself, right? If you want to do it that way. And that's the way we be proactive in that situation. Easier said than done, but that is the biggest component of transformation when it comes to your emotional mastery. Seeing the gift and the lesson in something because it's helping you transform. Everything, and I say this to clients all the time, everything is a growth opportunity. Everything is helping you become who you say you want to be. But in those moments, you will feel like the opposite most of the time. And that's where you have the choice to truly transform. And it's a beautiful thing if you lean into it. So with all that being said, we're going to get into communication in the next video because this is going to affect relationships. It's going to affect business relationships. It's going to affect everything. Communication is the cornerstone of effective relationships and one of my highest values when it comes to specifically romantic relationships, but also client relationships and saying the things that are necessary to progress and move forward, no matter what that situation is. So I'll see you in the next video. We'll dive deep into that.